One thing that we really can't go too far without mentioning is the advent of wireless technology into our lives as penetration testers. And because wireless is a relatively new technology, obviously wireless hacking is going to be relatively new as well. And interestingly enough, wireless hacking has been able to keep up with wireless security technology pretty well from the get-go. Within a very short amount of time of the original wireless encryption protocols, there were already vulnerabilities and hack tools available for those, and that trend really hasn't changed all that much in the last several years. Wireless hacking is generally going to take advantage of weak encryption protocols and even vulnerabilities in the wireless standards themselves. It's very interesting that we can basically become a physical attachment to your network, effectively bypassing firewalls and other perimeter protection by utilizing wireless networks. So one of the things you're going to notice in the very near future is companies are going to start treating their wireless networks just like they treat the internet. There will be a DMZ with wireless access points, with intrusion detection systems and firewalls, and all of those things are going to take place because companies are quickly starting to realize that a wireless access point is also a vulnerability or weakness in the armor of the organization. Wireless networks, because of their ease to set up and very cheap cost to implement, have become extremely common. But most people don't understand the security configuration, so they choose either not to set it up or they set it up poorly. So there's a couple of different types of encryption and security that are available to us. The first of which, in the original security protocol for wireless, is WEP, or Wired Equivalency Privacy. And this was set up to use a hexadecimal key that was very cryptic and hard to remember and came in various ranges of encryption sizes. Not too long after, WPA, or Wi-Fi Protected Access, followed. And it actually uses various types of key generation so that it can be effective. WEP actually comes in 40, 64, or 128-bit keys currently on the public market. Now, those have been proposed to be up to 256 and even 512, and there are even some rumors that some 512-bit WEP is actually out in some agencies. One thing to keep in mind, though, no matter how good the encryption is, if you don't change the WEP key, it will never be totally secure, because all you do is capture the WEP key, sniff the traffic for a couple of hours, grab the key, and then crack it through the short initialization vector. Because the key doesn't change, and because it doesn't change, you just need to simply capture enough traffic to reassemble that key. So it's a very simple process, and it's very easy to circumvent. For all intents and purposes, WEP has been replaced with WPA, or WPA version 2. One of the places you'll probably most commonly find WEP in use is in home networks, which again, even though our target may be a corporation, a CEO with an unsecured wireless access point in his home can provide us with a very easy access to sensitive information. There's actually a terminology used to describe driving and looking for networks with a laptop with wireless sniffing and cracking enabled, and that term is war driving, which is kind of a spin-off of the old war dialing days when you could go through and dial into various modem banks to try to find vulnerabilities or access. So war driving works very much in the same way. We can actually drive around the physical perimeter of a particular target to detect if they have any wireless networks. There are lots of popular war driving software out there. NetStumbler is a very common one. AirSnort is actually a Linux derivative of Snort for sniffing wireless networks. AeroPeak is a very common one as well, which is actually a Windows product, and Kismet is also a wireless detection software. So there are a lot of options available to us out there. And the process basically works like this. Once the wireless network is discovered, we sniff traffic for a long enough time to gather the WEP key itself. Once we have that, and let's assume that the wireless access point is using MAC filtering, well, within a very short amount of time, we will have collected all the MAC addresses from the wireless clients. So we then spoof that MAC address and that's it. We're in the network. We get a DHCP address. If not, we can assume it's probably one of the 3 private ranges, so we can keep trying until we find it, but ultimately we're going to be able to gain access to it. So definitely your best bet is going to be secure it like you would a DMZ. In addition to your standard hacking techniques, wireless is also susceptible to other attacks, such as denial of service attacks or session reset attacks, which basically break sessions between clients and the wireless access point. Data theft, sniffing traffic and sniffing information off of an unsecured access point, or physically stealing the device itself. And, of course, illegal access. So we're not really gaining a tremendous amount of security or necessarily losing a tremendous amount of security with enabling wireless. But one of the things I want you to keep in mind is wireless technology is a broadcast technology. Everything that you say across your network card to that wireless access point is essentially broadcasts and has the potential to be picked up by someone that is listening in. So be aware of that and make sure that you use proper data classification to protect sensitive information from being transmitted across wireless technology.